Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, where we've got a lovely new prosecutor to deal with. I actually, between episodes, looked it up to see how it's supposed to be pronounced, and apparently Gatto, and Godo are all correct. So I'm just going to stick with what I've been doing. I wanted to look it up because I felt like that might get grating after a while. But I'm just going to stick with what I've been doing. So yeah, we kind of walked into his trap, which is usual for these games, and now we're gonna have to work our way out of this. Let's see who his next witness is. Huh? You're done with me? But I haven't proved anything yet. You've proven your own incompetence. That's good enough. That doesn't sound good at all. Bailiff, bring the next witness into the courtroom. Finally, time for the ace detective to make his appearance, huh? Oh, good. No, 1 second is one drip of the coffee pot. Let's hurry it up. Silence. Now I see it is all becoming clear. What's clear? Zavari. The truth has once again been elegantly revealed to me. What we have here is a judge and a prosecutor. A coffee maniac at that. Am I correct? Well, yes, that's right. Ha, not bad. Not bad at all. You're the first person that's been able to penetrate my secret veil. Well, Sir Prosecutor, let me introduce myself. My name is Luke Atney, ace detective and rising star illuminating the heavens. Poised to make a perfect pair. They'd either be best friends or they'd tear each other's heads off. I've heard that on the night of the crime you were all alone on security detail. You have heard correctly. My specially made monocle is worth more than 100 Detective Gumshoes. That I will believe. If Detective Gumshoe is worth anything, that is. Ooh. Why was this guy all by himself anyway? There must be some reason, I'm sure of it. Well then, tell us what this special monocle of yours witnessed. Okay. No, it was at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, just after the date changed. That's when my nemesis, the infamous Mask-to-Mask, dancingly descended upon me. Just as I began to turn, the coward struck a fierce blow upon my noble head. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I awoke, he was gone. 30 minutes later, I used an emergency phone to notify the police. So you didn't get a clear look at the criminal? My specially made monocle never misses a thing. However, that is limited to things that fall within my own visual range. But of course, that's only natural. I fail to see why the witness seems so proud of his performance that evening. Well, Sir Old-Timer, let me explain. We are not speaking of any ordinary thief, but of the king of thieves, the great Mask-to-Mask, my arch-enemy. That is what my instinct and my years of experience tell me. Very well, proceed with the cross-examination, Mr. Wright, and may God have mercy on us all. So that would be 1 o'clock in the morning of the 12th, correct? That's an impressive deduction, Sir Lawyer. You're on security duty that night. Where exactly were you at the time? A penetrating question. I was in the basement warehouse near the computer. The computer, huh? So then you weren't trying to remain hidden, I take it? Up to this point, I have tried to remain concealed while waiting for the thief. Yeah, he said the same thing yesterday, too. Gumshoe also said they've never spotted the thief at the crime scenes before. Precisely. That is precisely why I chose not to hide last night. I knew that by not concealing myself, I would be putting pressure on the thief. Looks like the thief was the one applying the pressure. On your pigeony head, that is. That is pretty pigeony. In any case. Dancingly descended. From where exactly? Well, from the entrance, I suppose. Where else? So in actuality, he neither danced nor descended. Someone please save me. So how is it that you didn't notice the thief? My eyes were looking for the thief's shadow while my ears listened for his footfalls. But even so, the dastardly criminal managed to sneak up on me. It can only be due to his subtly camouflaged cape and soft-soled shoes. I hereby W Ace Dunce. I think we're gonna have to attack that. You didn't see the criminal's face when that happened. Well, that's the difficult part. How should I put it? I saw his mask, that is all I can recall. That's not very solid as far as testimony goes. However, fortunately I had my third monocle, the security camera, at the ready. It captured his image perfectly. This should be sufficient, I believe. Well, as long as this photo is authentic, I don't see a problem here. Well, Mr. Gatto, do you have a problem with the photo? Good, then let's continue with the testimony. Attacked and knocked unconscious, and you weren't able to do a thing. That's certainly some very impressive detective work. Well, Sir Lawyer, have you ever been suddenly struck on the head? At least once. Huh? Well, actually, yes, by a fire extinguisher. And what happened? I was knocked out. And you lost your memory, too. You see, you have no right to look down on me then, do you? The only reason I didn't lose my memory was because I have more brains to begin with. You may have brains, but the wiring to the self-reflection part seems to be severed. In any case, that's how I was knocked senseless, and then... 30 minutes... Oh, right, so he called it 1:30, okay. About this 30 minutes, my silver cord was loosened and my soul fled to the golden halls of Elysium. As usual, I have no idea what this guy is saying. I think he's saying he was out cold. So what happened during these 30 minutes? No one can say, Your Honor. That span of time has truly vanished into the ether. Just what is he going on about? There's something suspicious about Detective Atme. How could he not have noticed when the thief came in? Also, he says he was knocked unconscious before he could fight back. That can't be right. It contradicts the— Oh! Huh? Which piece? The real question is, why would he tell such an obvious lie? Yeah. Hold on. Looks like it was torn off some clothing. So that, I think that's my contradiction. Dancingly descended. Struck a fierce blow upon my normal head. I don't know where I want to present it. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. Ha! It's wrong. Mr. Atme, could you take a look at this with that special monocle of yours? Aha, this belongs to the criminal mastermind, my arch nemesis, Mask to Mask. It is, in point of fact, Mask to Mask's brooch. It was found on the floor of the basement warehouse. I wonder how that happened. Ha! Elementary, my dear lawyer. Obviously, it wasn't glued on very well. Well enough. Not quite. It clearly shows signs of having been ripped off a piece of clothing. Ripped off? Ha ha ha! We can only deduce that the thief struggled with someone that night. That's the only thing I can think of. And there's only one person that was in a position to have a struggle with the thief. The only person that was on security duty that night. You, Detective Atme. Detective Atme, you must have fought with the thief that night. So why did you lie in your testimony to the court? A witness giving a false testimony is a serious crime, although nothing ever happens when people do it. We just kind of yell at them and let them tell us more lies. No, wait just a moment, Sir Old-Timer. Hey, don't talk to me like I'm living in a nursing home. I just remembered, Your Honor. I was just confused because I've been dealing with so many cases lately. The true measure of a man is the amount of work he does. That's what I always say. Nick, you can only handle one case at a time, isn't that right? You talk too much. Witness, so are you now saying that you and the thief fought? Hold on, that's quite enough, Your Honor. Excuse me? Say the big questions for the testimony. That's one of my rules. Indeed, I understand. I, Luke at me, agree completely. What now? Indeed, it's true I looked away from the door for a brief moment. However, Luke at me cannot be so easily discombobulated. Unfortunately, the thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. A true gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. His first blow struck true. Bam! And that's all she wrote. That seems like a lie, too. So in the end, you did catch a glimpse of Mask to Mask? Correct. It was during his third crime that he struck me from behind. It seems that my memory has become a tad jumbled, so to speak. Well, that's certainly understandable. You should probably look into how many times you've been hit in the head. I myself always get confused about which testimony goes with which case. That can't be good. Looked away from the door for a brief moment. To look at the computer. So why did you look away from the door anyway? In addition to the camera, I prepared a variety of other sensors as well. The alarm on one of these had gone off, so I had to check the data. That's why I went to the computer. Elegantly, of course. So you were momentarily vulnerable when you were working on the computer. What should I do? Should I ask some more questions? Ask about the sensor. Tell me about that. What kind of sensors are you talking about? There are other places in the basement that someone could enter and exit from. There are air conditioner ducts, sewer pipes, and a cat door as well. I hooked up heat detecting infrared and ultraviolet sensors to each of them. It's a lot of hardware. Was it all yours? Lordly Taylor Department Store was kind enough to provide the monitoring hardware. Naturally, the security camera that took the photo belongs to them as well. In other words, he couldn't have rigged the equipment, huh? Oh, that's actually important. Oh! He was turning that stuff off, wasn't he? Has that cleared up any doubts you had about me, Sir Lawyer? You seem very easily discombobulated. What does that mean, discombobulated? Young people these days, they really irritate me. They allow perfectly good old words to die until everyone forgets what they mean. Sorry, but what exactly does it mean anyway? Now I've forgotten. What was I saying? Yes, it's better than old people who forget what they were saying 5 seconds ago. Well, it looks like we've cleared that up. You can go on with your testimony. What do you mean by weapon from the side? Naturally, the thief had no idea that I, Luke at me, was hiding in the area. You weren't hiding. Lies! He grabbed the sword from the statue that was standing by the door to the warehouse. Sword? You mean the sword that was all twisted like a tree branch? Correct. Fortunately for me, the blade was not sharp. Okay, so he is talking about the Shido. So the thief armed himself with a sword, and what about yourself, witness? Well, no one's surprised about that. You had that much faith in your own fighting abilities. But of course, in college I was the second in charge of the boxing club. I'm sorry if I failed to find that appropriately impressive. However, my opponent in the ring this time was my arch nemesis, Mask to Mask. This guy's a real piece of work. Can you tell us a little more about what happened? My opponent was both powerful and vicious. You might say he was powericious. Powericious? I assumed the at-me fighting stance, but a sudden flash of light blinded me. That, of course, was checkmate. My opponent had bested me. What do I do now? Should I ask for more about this? You were blinded, or the at-me? You were blinded. So what was this flash of light that blinded you? I was bathed in a golden light that seemed to come from the statue of that woman. The statue of Ami Faye, I'm guessing. Well, that wasn't very much help at all. Well, what do you think, Nick? Well, there's one thing that I'm absolutely sure of now. Yeah, what is it? This Luke at-me guy, he's definitely hiding something. But why? I think I'm starting to figure out what really happened that night. And about the true nature of this detective. Hold on. There were a couple of these where I was able to ask... Yeah, ask about the computer. So did the computer belong to Lordly Taylor as well? Correct, well, except for the program that manages the data. That was specially designed by me, Luke. Oh. In that case, he could have easily manipulated the data. Ooh, what's wrong, Sir Lawyer? Alright, how do I use that? Can I be so easily discombobulated? Don't think there's anything there. Fights on his fists. Tell us a little bit more about what happened. Powericious. Tell me about the at-me fighting style. What is this at-me fighting style? I'm sorry, but that's a trade secret. I really can't say anymore. But I suppose I can tell you if I absolutely must. The main thing is to put your back to the wall. That way no one can get behind you. That's it? That's the at-me fighting style? Well, Mr. Wright, what about that testimony? It was a waste of my time. It was very important. I don't know why yet. Of course it's important. We've learned the detective's secret technique after all. Yes, indeed. I'll remember to use it if I ever take a walk alone late at night. Why the heck is he eyeballing me like that? It's creeping me out. Now then, witness, we'll go ahead and add that secret information to your official testimony. I put my back to the wall to fight, but the thief's blow landed upon my third eye. Where is this third eye you're talking about? Oh, it's right between my left and right eyebrow. It's quite invisible to the unenlightened. You may call it the forehead if you like. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? Sir Lawyer, it looks like the creases in your own forehead are getting deeper. So Mr. at-me got hit on the forehead then? That's what he says. I got a funny feeling about that. Actually, so do I. Well, what do you think, Nick? This Luke at-me guy is definitely hiding something, but why? Yeah, what do I have? Poster, that's not gonna help. Move the night of the crime. Oop, what? That was weird. Honestly, the only thing I have... That says with a blow to the back of the head. But isn't that based on what he told us? It's a contradiction, though. I put my back to the wall, which contradicts what we know about this item. Detective Atme, your testimony is crumbling like a house of cards. What fun is this, Sir Lawyer? It is truly a pleasure to cross swords with you. And now, once again, you have thrown down the gauntlet at my armored feet. I believe this is what you said yesterday. Besides the door, then my arch nemesis struck me on the head from behind with this gruesome item here. From behind, But just now you testified that he struck you on the forehead. I hardly think you could forget where you were hit on the head. It seems I've made another mistake. Detective Atme, that's not the only strange part of your testimony. What do you mean by that? For example, the very fact that you hid the calling card from the police itself is strange. It's almost as if you were afraid they were going to help with security. Geniuses such as myself have always been misunderstood. How sad. That's wrong. Ooh. To err is human, to forgive divine. Humans aren't machines, they have souls, feelings. They live, they die, they love, they hate, and yes, they even make mistakes. Hey, hold on, it's not as pretty as that. Ooh. Really? What is it like then? Always chase a riddle down to the end. That's one of my rules. You have a rule for everything. And I'm assuming they're eventually going to contradict each other. This is it. This might just be my chance to turn things around. Mr. Wright, what exactly is it that you're asserting? Very well, Your Honor. The defense asserts that Mr. Atme is no ace detective. This Mr. Atme is a fake. This was my first one. I don't know that that's true. Because why would the sword... If he were masked to mask, why would the sword be bent? That's what I can't figure. Unless he, like, was trying to make it look good. That's definitely possible. But then we have to figure out how Ron fits into all this. I think... The answer's simple. It's all clear to me now. Detective Luke Atme's true identity is actually Mask to Mask. Yeah. Order in the court, Mr. Wright. What is the meaning of this? There are too many unnatural parts to Mr. Atme's story. He says he was hiding at the crime scene, which is why no one ever saw him there. And then, in his last case, he manages to outperform Detective Gumshoe, which, okay, that's not weird, and the entire police force to miraculously retrieve the stolen treasure? That's because I analyzed the crime scene data and made an exquisitely elegant deduction. I picked up clues that the police overlooked in order to arrive at a... Oh, please, the explanation is far simpler than that, Detective Atme. The truth is that you are, in fact, Mask to Mask. Yeah, but Mr. Wright, this photo, it clearly shows Mask to Mask. The security camera belongs to Lord Lee Taylor's department store. He shouldn't have been able to manipulate it. He didn't need to manipulate it. He gained access to the warehouse under the pretense of providing security. Then he simply dressed up as the thief and stole the urn. So the ace detective is actually an ace thief. Is this true, witness? Massimo is pure genius, and so am I, Luke Atme, ace detective. You're very clever to have come to such a conclusion. I'm impressed, Sir Lawyer. Wait, what? Witness, you're admitting it? Yeah, Nick, now's your chance. Yes, time to put the last nail in this guy's coffin. Detective Atme. What? Did I just get slapped? What? Well, that's a thumbnail. Hopefully I remember. Gatto Blend, number 102. My personal favorite. I want this man arrested for assault. My face is probably burnt. Mr. Gatto. The ace detective is actually an ace thief. I smell a best-selling novel. There's only one problem. It simply isn't true. But Mr. Gatto, Mr. Wright has made some very strong points, and I will admit my opponent has woven a compelling narrative out of whole cloth. But it is, in fact, nothing more than a patchwork quilt. Mr. Tribulations. If this detective really is the thief, then show us the proof of your claim. But it better be as hot and as perfect as the coffee dripping down your face. Well, Mr. Wright, don't just stand there with coffee on your face. This court would like to see the decisive proof you have, quickly. Huh? Oh, yes, of course. What's the big rush? Are you alright, Nick? Well, I did just get, like, burned. Scalded, if you will. Atme looks pretty rattled right now. I'd like to finish this right now if I can. But can I really do it? I don't think so. The decisive evidence that proves Mr. Luke Atme is in fact Master Mask. Right, I don't have anything. I don't have, like, there's so much, like, listening to him talk. And just, like, piecing things together. It's all just conjecture. It's very compelling conjecture, but I don't think I have a definitive piece of proof. The fact that we haven't gotten, like, done anything with the security card or the wallet, I don't think we have it. Is there something in the picture? Again, nothing. The one thing that does strike me as weird is that it's a little before 1 a.m. So I think it was taken out and then the plan was executed. Or it could just be like the matter of a few minutes. These are hard because, like, it's easier when you have the evidence. So you can say, yes, I have it, and here's what I have. When you don't have it, it's a matter of, am I overlooking something? Is there anything in these profiles that can help me? Don't know his age. That's weird. We don't know anything about him, actually. Has yet to be found. Oh, that's probably talking about the I'm gonna go with has yet to be found. Proof? Of course I've got nothing. Ha! Just what I thought. A man has to hold his head up high no matter how bad things get, after all. Ugh. I see. I thought perhaps you had some evidence to back up your assertion. This is no good. I've got to stay on the attack. I'll never get another chance to prove that this guy is the thief. Don't give up, Nick. Think harder and try again. Oh, did I mess up? It's no good. I'm just not ready yet. But are you going to just give up and let us lose this? So you've come to your senses, have you, Sir Lawyer? I can't think of a counterattack at all. It seems the cloud of suspicion surrounding this witness is lifted. Mr. Gatto, if you have anything further to add, then... Who? Who are you? It doesn't really matter right now, does it? Miss Delight, what are you doing here? Nicky boy, the thing you've been looking for? I think I found it.
You mean that bag?
Oh, ho, ho, ho. No, not the bag. What's in the bag? Well,
That's...
the sacred urn. Nick, it's just the urn.
Order, you, madam. That urn, where did you find it?
You'll never believe it. It was in the office of Mr. Fancy Pants Ace Detective Luke Atme.
Oh, Desi, you're the best.
Found in the office. Oh wait, it's been fixed. Why was it fixed? There's pink splashes all over it too. Well, how do you explain that one, Mr. Atme? Even you are going to have a hard time weaseling out of this one.
Ha! Pathetic. Mr. Gatto, do you have something you wish to say? Yes, Your Honor. It simply amazes me how quickly times change. In the old days, a man was to be taken at his word. It's truly sad. You're still denying that Mr. Atme was involved? Before casting aspersions at Detective Atme, consider the young lady here. Your name is Desiree. Desiree Delight, is that correct?
Yes. What about it?
Ha! How charming. The lengths that a woman is willing to go to save her husband is truly inspiring.
What are you insinuating?
As the wife of the criminal, you could have discovered that stolen urn anywhere. Including the office of the good detective here.
No, I saw that.
So you found the urn. What does that prove? It certainly doesn't prove that the urn where the urn was before you found it.
What? I just brought it here from the detective's office.
Please, madam. This town is already filled to the brim with lies. Any more could only compound the tragedy we have been witness to.
You're wrong. I would never do such a thing. Miss Delight. Please, Nicky boy, you've got to help me talk some sense into these people. There must be some way. I've got to prove that urn was actually in the Atme Detective Agency. Testify about what I saw. Shh. That's about what I think I'm gonna go with that.
What's wrong? Is it your job to come up with something to say?
Nick, come on, it should be easy to prove. After all, we checked out that bag, didn't we? You're right, I remember doing that. Whatever was in there, it was hard and round and smooth, too. Yes, it must have been the urn, it must have. But I never actually saw it with my own... Oh, so my testimony wouldn't be good. Atme walked in just when I was about to have a look at it. So even if it was the urn there, I can't testify that it was. Ah, you're right.
Ha! Looks like I was wrong about you, Mr. Wright. In this town overflowing with lies, there's still a single flickering candle of truth.
Nicky boy. Well, it's true that I never actually saw the... Oh! But maybe I can still testify about it from another angle.
What about it, Mr. Wright? Have you given up yet?
No. I got this. There must be some way. I've got to prove that urn was actually in the Atme Detective Agency. Fingerprints. I can prove where the urn was by the fingerprints on it.
Fingerprints, eh?
Oh, come now. Now you're really making me laugh, Sir Lawyer. Fingerprints indeed. May I go on? Good. Now it would be perfectly understandable if my fingerprints were on the urn. After all, it was I who was guarding the urn in the first place. In any case, I'm always in the habit of wearing gloves, as you can see. So unfortunately, my fingerprints wouldn't be the evidence of anything.
What about it, Mr. Wright? This witness's fingerprints would mean nothing anyway.
Nick, what are you going to do now? I've come too far to turn back now. Atme, you must have brought the urn back to his office yesterday. And there, I'm sure someone must have left their fingerprints on it. Yes! The defense proposes that the fingerprints of this person should be on the urn. So what is all this fuss about fingerprints anyway? Mr. Atme, do you recall the events of yesterday? Hey Nick, come on, open it up. Hey, wait a minute. We can't just open his private property. Don't be such a fuddy-duddy. This is an important investigation. Well, what's in there? Yeah, alright. Yeah, so we touched it. So assuming that was what's in the bag, our fingerprint should be on there. It's true that I didn't get a chance to look in the bag at that time, but I did touch what was inside. What? You touched it? And I remember it very well. It was smooth and hard. Well, that was just... Your Honor, I'd like the court to examine the fingerprints on that urn. If my fingerprints are on there, then it proves that the urn was in Detective Atmey's office.
Well, even if your fingerprints are on the urn, it still doesn't prove when they were put there, does it?
Of course it does.
But what did you say?
It's not what I say, but what Adrian Andrews, the person in charge of the exhibition, said. I'll sit until it was just about glowing. I thought maybe I could make it look even more valuable. If she polished it that much, she must have removed any and all fingerprints on it. And the only chance I had to get my fingerprints on it after that was yesterday at the Atmey Detective Agency.
Ha! This blend, Gato Blend 107. I've decided it's a little too bitter after all.
Alright, judge is yelling order, 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 so that seems like a good place to end this episode. Ooh, I think we have something, but what we haven't figured out, though, is how Ron is tied into all this. Like, even if he's just a fanboy, I feel like he has something to do with all of this. There's a lot that hasn't been explored, so I'm assuming we've still got a little bit to go. I'm excited to see how it will all turn out. So that's going to do it for me. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.